Friends, very good morning to all. Let them come others also. With respect to need, essentially necessity of the complete security, we went on through various other way of, especially those who are working in the organization have their own position. So if they are regularly interacting, then you can find a different sort of errors. How we can find those errors, especially potentially acts of any manpower having own connectivity, disconnectivity or connectivity, we can call it as errors or failure, especially the possibility and which are going to be performed without not the intentionally, but the purpose of the individual who may be an employee working in the organization due to their inexperience and improper training, and you can say making most of the users with their own assumptions, you can say with their own assumptions, and due to the various other circumstances availability which may cause problems or which may cause failure also. And once again, some of the important threats, especially with respect to information security, very close to the organization overall there. Correct? Now, some of them are working as part of the institutional activity. These are also the problem which are going to be governed. You can easily reveal and you can make a classification of an exchange info, say data, and we can say which are all positive, which are all negative and erroneous factors. So how we can just go with a not required for the institutional factors. So how we can think about the alteration of the exchange flow and the storage of a data, especially which are totally without protection in specific areas which are not going to be usable. The chances of a failure also, chances of errors also. And many more prevents which are going to be controls with their own a simple sort of procedure. So to type a critical command number of times, correct, now without knowing what are all the output and what are all the outcome of this particular interface or the interaction, may having like you go with like a simple way or the complex in setup procedure and automatically with the concern or the communication with the third party. These are all various type of errors. If you see the next type of info, which are more, how best way which are going to be. If you look at the human error, you can find out interestingly from one to another, unknown persons themselves only, correct? No, the pictorial representation clearly gives biggest thrust overall involving day-to-day activities, and they used to be need making a problem themselves only, correct? Now we can find out some of the burglar related to, and similarly how the unskillful personalities and substandards users, so they are all the person who are following the their own activities for threatening, and they say that one how they used to be make a clear spec of standard level of threatening or like a dangerous or the hazard flow to the whole complete system. And next, which follows very clearly if some sort of indirectional with the circumstances, how the deviation in quality of services by service provider. Suppose we have all sort of components we are getting from a vendors or a proprietor or industries. If they are going to be give some sort of correct no threatening or the chances of dangerous way of approaches to the company or the organization, can easily find out what not. Potential deviation in quality of services, especially from the service provider, and which says very clearly this category represents in which way the situations looks for the product and not to deliver with their own expectation time. Suppose we are ordering for a systems, we are ordering for AC related components, we are ordering for which are not in a position to go, even though through procedure, they are not in a position to deliver the product to the organization with certain circumstances and the situation, that is also going to be some sort of effect service provider. You can say how the deviation which are going to be take place. And also the organization of an information system especially depends on how the regular successful operations are going to be take place. Similarly, inter-level many sort of independent dependability one to another. We say that when we have a hardware, in order to handle the hardware, specific compatible softwares are very, very essential. Think in such a way that if you are planning for like a wind energy, if you are planning for solar energy, if you are planning for electricity grid, whatever it may be, then which are one to another, there should be a good relationship, correct? No, including you say that power gets sold, and in which are formulated through communication, the telecom networks, so suppliers who are all sensor devices, so and who are all service vendors, so even though who are all the staff, correct? No, making a problem such a way that according to the procedure, and especially how best way in order to see the internet services with the dial-up services, so lease line services, so and we can go with like the various type of policy matters and the in which way the terms and conditions which are going to be matchable there, even though a number of components which have been installed thoroughly and providing an extensive knowledge, but time being, if no proper maintenance services, then these are all the some sort of a standard deviation from the service provider. You can say how the things are happening in a different manner, which are not going to be cope up. Okay. One to another, three sets of services issues, especially from the internet service provider, communications, and there should be power irregularities. We dependable on MESCOM, but MESCOM directly we can't just feed or provide an input to the components of tiny device, correct? No, you have to be dependable on uninterrupted power supplies. How the irregularities of this one, these are the problems. That's why product or services not delivered in an expectation manner and within a time domain. Information systems depends on many interdependent support system one to another. If you have a computing system depending on a telecommunication, depending on network services, so depending on power, what are all the things which are going to be need as an input. We can classify such a way that one to another the changes which are going to be take place with an effect of availability of information system day in day out. One is a internet service communication related, a communication with respect to telecom, teleservices, all which comes and which are going to be backbone. We can say backup what we require, a power regularity. These are some of the standard deviation after the manpower failure. And next, what it says, we can go one to another. Loss of internet services can lead to considerable loss in availability. We have the services of megabits per second. Later, we are going for gigabits per second. That indicates, especially the organization, any organization, if they are rely on the internet and the web services support, continue a maximum level of an operation, which provides a dangerous things to the potential loss of if which are not going to be lead in a considerable way of how the available of information to the organization. We can say that one organization have sales staff, organization have telecommunication service technical supporter working at remote location in order to maintain a reliable bandwidth, throughput, connectivity regularly, then these are also some of the various other type of issues comes to from the internet. When an organization outsource, especially suppose we have like a www.mangalore-university.ac.in, we have web portal information, no? We have a email service information, no? We have a regular flow of an exchange which are going to be updated. See, three different type of a domain available on website, correct, web server. Who are all going to be handled? We have given like outsourcing to one person for maintaining for the web portal flow. Similarly, for the email services, what we have that for that also different person and one to another, which are not going to be cope up. Then outsource assumes responsibility of they should have a responsibility. You have to give a very clear picture. You are all people in order to maintain such a way that what are all the services and in which we are going to provide an excellent procedure to maintain for good level of services to the complete organization. Similarly, if you look at like all internet services, so which are all the components of hardware and operating system and software used to operate and correct no should be compatibility, which are all the back end, which are all the front end, what sort of a JavaScript, is it JavaScript on object notation, so you are using a PHP or like which are all going to be cope up for the high end today like Python programming correct no whatever ultimately we keep on change such a way that how the managing of the resources we can say overall many organization have sales staff and who are all working in the remote location they are also when the organization places web server in the care of web hosting provider who are all the service provider, we can say that one web launching proprietor, and they used to outsource with their own assumption and the responsibility to relay a complete exchange flow in case of how the WW services to the organization. Combination contains both hardware as well as set of instruction software also combined together. Then the communications and the other services especially. Some of the issues like other utility services have potential impact. We have to go with like wired network connectivity, wireless network connectivity. You can go with like bounded media, unbounded media, guided media, correct? No? How which are going to be within the organization, no? Deploying within the building, how which are going to be suitable. Similarly, we have like a PG center in a different location like in Kodagu, PG center like in Udupi, PG, and similarly in Mangalore, correct? No? If you would like to extend same type of services, what type of services potential which are going to be maintained much more reliability. Among these, we can easily find out one is a telephone line connectivity, water and wastewater, because how 24/7 you can easily get essential, basic, fundamental, essential required for our day-to-day life. We are in a how to maintain the water, and the wastewater is possible to utilize for the purpose of maintaining garden like that. Trash pickup. Suppose if any chances of correct no, garbage related flow, how we can just maintain, can classify the wet and the hard type of a trashes, garbage. What purpose you can, is it possible to salvage, is it possible to once again make use for the various other type of services. Natural or propane, correct? No. Suppose if any sort of industry in and around, how which are going to be effect or the impact to the organization, and the custodial services who are all the responsible person in and around authorities, and who are all going to be in. These are all the properties which are related to the communication, the other services which are going to be threat. Threat of loss of services lead, especially inability to function properly. Something goes wrong, correct? Now we have a lot of garbage in front of the blocks. Similarly, how which are going to be manageable. We say always most of the thing how we can maintain Swachha, correct? No country, Swachha Bharat, all the things which are part and partial of the security aspect feature. You say that one threat of loss of these services can lead to inability of an organization which are not going to be work in a positive manner, function properly, and which are not going to be give a good message to the society, and which says that one which way the in and around people are working, they are fully responsible. And power regularities. See, once we are making use online services, we should correct now. Even though if MESCOM supply is not in a position to give a backup, and we should have our own UPS related. They say that when voltage levels can increase, which are going to be fluctuate one to another, decreases or C is correct now, may not be available long time. Even though due to maintenance, then how which are going to be made? Power regularity like a spike momentary increases. So how the graphs of the sinusoidal wave which keep on increase, upper bound or lower spike, surge, prolonged increase, correct? No, chances of prolonged increase automatically provide like intentionally not in a position to catch a particular carrier signal. Those are the problems. And momentary low voltages which are not going to cope up for glowing state of the voice signal. No. Textual information which are going to be not clear on the monitor, and similarly how which are going to be the dynamic flow of an information not going to, and this is due to low voltage, not in a position to even get through any flow. Similarly, prolonged dropping of chances. What I mean to say is if it's reaching to you very clearly, then you say reliable. If any chance of dropping in between before getting to your place at the location, then due to brown out chances. Momentary loss of power, due, correct, no? Which goes and come up, goes and come up, correct, no? Coming and going, and these are the fault tolerance level. Prolonged loss, correct, you can say the voltage levels in the form of increasing and the decreasing and chances of completely, correct, no, blocked. These are a power irregularity backup, which are also going to be problem to our complete information or security problems. You can say that now the threats which are going to be effective. And then electronic equipment is susceptible to the fluctuations and controls, various other flow applied to managing. In order to manage high level power supply or power quality, which are going to be gained much more beauty and the positive aspects of the data. We can say one to another how we can easily, suppose we need a minimum level of a power supply utility which are not going to be cope up, then chances of fluctuations. That's why we have an multiple level of a components which are say electronics equipment, so especially networking equipment, so computers, so computer based systems are providing a lot of fluctuations. We are not in a position to control and manage better power quality. And you can say one to another how the power irregularities which are going to be threat to the organization with respect to the information security. And then one of the important other aspects you say that one, especially some sort of intelligence, fellows who are all correct now, even though in order to manage the confidential, integrated, authenticated flow, and there should be intelligent factors as the surveillance factors also. You can say espionage, correct? You can find out such a way that how. Similarly, invade and encroach, intrude, violation of that one due to various other issues. We can say one is called broad category of activity that breach confidentiality, which are not in an applicable manner. You can say that one, how which are going to be rupture and cracks and find out various other. One among is unauthorized accessing of information. We are here working in the organization. Person comes as a guest and finally you just see go through which are not in the position to understand unauthorized accessibility of the information. Competitive intelligence versus, because level of attacking, level of threatening, level of intruding, correct now, you have their own intelligence factors, information, competitively. I can easily go for blocking, I can easily go for attacking, I can easily break for this particular website, correct now. These are all how we can distinguish between, they have their own properties. And overall, behind, as we can say, shoulder surfing can occur any place a person is accessing confidential information. Once we are drawing like money through ATM, and similarly, the fluctuation due to the various other activities. We can say that one, these are intelligence characteristic features, also the problematic. Controls implement to mark the boundaries of an organization, virtual terror. We used to find out in a real time data how the changes which are going to be take place, but some of the applicable logically which through invalid way and the virtual way they are in a position to manage the, we can say, and through on the organization and how hackers or a user skill and the correct, we can find out one to another how best way which are going to be styleness, so cleverness, so cunningness approaches. So we can find out hackers user skill which are their own intelligence. Similarly, how they are cleverly working on that one, how they are going to be deception and the faking of the complete data of the information one to another. These are all the problems of, and you can say deliberate flow of an information which are going to be attacked us and find out which are not going to be useful for the organ. See some of the flow which say shoulder surfing takes many forms of many of, correct, no, not to be, which are not known to, but anyway, in order to maintain insecurity, they used to be followed. You can say overall the personality to handle to unnecessary, troubling, threatening a complete flow of an information. You can say overall called intruder, dangerous, and threat to the organization. You can say one to another. And then you can go for the flow of hacker profiles. They used to be set up their own environment, mail with limited how the supervisions went to the value of representation and which are known factor of data available to us and get their correct, or it may be male, female, and unknown background people. They make use their technological aspects which are not in a levels and find out correct now internally or externally or are going to be intelligent factors with their own properties and ready to hack the complete system of organization. And similarly, you can say, as I told you very clear, generally two skill levels among hackers. One is a more intelligent personality who are going to be deliberate their own way of software with the help of various other programming skills. So, expert hacker develops a software scripts and codes exploits such a way that in order to in order to hack, they can use their own set of instruction packages. So availability of the latest technological scripts. So usually a master of many skills. A person always above the system in order to go for how they used to be attacked. And another important factor like create attack software and share with others. A link establishment from user X of attacker with another correct X1, X2, X3 like that way. They used to say the teamwork. We can say the team of expert hackers also going to be a partner, how they used to be killed, how they used to be have their own attacking ability. And script kiddies, hackers for limited skill because they are not in a position to go with a programming level understanding. They are not in a position to understand a technological aspect. So, and they can call it as script kiddies. Hackers of limited skill use expert written software to exploit a system. They used to go with the link specification. They used to go with they have their own level of a programming approach. Finally, say, is it possible to develop? Other terms of systems, in which way they are going to be break up. We can call it as rule breakers, crackers, especially who cracks or removes or they ultimately delete and ultimately not in a position to get back the flow. We can say the cracker. And involving protection designed to prevent unauthorized duplication. Even though copy of the information which are available, how they can make a shortcut flow of the data, how they can make a duplication flow of the data. Then peakers. He said he hacks the public telephone network. That's why phone hackers, you can say peaker, P-H-E-K, how best way, P-H-E-R-E-K. Who are all going to be hack, who are all going to be threatening, who are all going to be unnecessary fake, the fraudness of to the existing communication system, we can say preaker. We have an options which relates, understand such a way that the software which are going to be available. Right, such a term cracker is now commonly associated with individual who cracks and similarly remove software protection which are going to be unnecessary, unauthorized level of protections which are and these are the various category of how best way they are in a order to use their own intelligence, use their own surveillance to hack the own organizational system. And you can say information extraction, especially any attacker, any intruder who are all involving for this type of a job, formerly trusted insider stealing information. They used to be come across how the internally activities and the functionality which are going to be take place. They used to be studied thoroughly and they come up with such a way that how this particular system is going to be work out. Is it they used to be diagnosed such a compensation for its return and non-use. You can say that one. If the deliberation acts of an information, the threat of an information is possibility of an attacker, correct? No? insider stealing flow information from a computer system and demanding such a way that this particular compensation required for return. No use at all, correct? No? How best way in order to manage. And another important is credit card number theft. The chances of, correct? No? They used to give a call such a way that we have this number, we have like a, is it? It's a Rupee card, and we have like a ATM Mastercard, whatever it may be. You get a call from so and so third party, and finally immediately they will you have lost the card, and we'll go for clearing, correct? No? Providing an ability, please kindly say so and so your details, Aadhaar card, PAN card, and finally they used to be attacked. These are all a different type of fraud level extraction found in credit card number theft also. Today, you are seeing a practically how the information security is going to be attacked one level and the other level of an option which are inevitable to be understood. And another important aspect which related, individual or a group who want to deliberately with their own intelligence operations of a computer system or business or for works of a, they have their own either destroy what are the properties or damaging the image of the organization. So they used to say, we are coming for the maintenance and we'll see what are all the systems which are there, and we'll going to open and internally, low level, the assembly level and the physical identification of that one, they can easily steal the flow from there. They can easily destroy an asset, what are the properties in a practical manner, damage the whole image of the organization. And these threats especially can range from one to another level. We can say that one group may be a selective member who are all going to be sabotage. We can say sabotage, vandalism. These are all words which are peaking to be understandable in such a way that how the threatening options are the organization rely on image, so web defacing can lead to dropping consumer confidence and safety. They used to identify who are all the supplier, a vendor. They used to go with the proper procedure or with the tender, all the thing. They used to be go with all policy, correct? No, you can say right to information act is available, various type of commissions are available, correct? No? How they used to get most of the information which are totally communicate with the third party or the or all the vendors involving in these activities. Rising threat of hacker visits and the cyber activity operation, most extreme version in a cyber terrorism. See, we can find out a group of members who are all as a guest to visit to the organization, identify what level of possibilities are going to be threatening. Similarly, through the available software, cyber basically the zeros and ones. We can say with respect to the study of security, then in it you have open space flow operations which are going to be performed early regularly. We can identify such a way that one to another. That's why only equality, correct? No, equality, a popular today assault on the electronic face of an organization is say there's some sort of a website which are going to be hacking, and especially addresses, so physical address, so logical address, so group of flow which are going to be in an operation, how where exactly this particular system is connected from another system, what sort of a business which are going to be performing in an organization. Is it possible to destroy? Is it possible to complete deletion of the properties from the and damaging whole image of the organization? These are all the various, correct? Now, in which way going to be, especially in case of marketing, in case of business organization, you can identify such a way that who are all the sales group, who are all the customers, who are all the supplier, who are all the vendors. So through that one only, they can easily lead some certain flow of an insecure information security in any organization. And deliberation acts of a theft. Correct? You can say that one, this particular illegal taking of another property, physical, electronic, or intellectual. That's why only, even though you have a complete CIA, confidentiality, integrity, authenticity, availability, authorization, even though we have that one, illegally, suppose a property, especially get into Bangalore, Mumbai, Kolkata, correct now, one property which are at to n number of users, n number of customers, which are, say, not only the documentation flow in the form of electronic way also, digital, through digital also, and they use their own intelligent characteristic feature in order to steal the flow of a property. You can say illegal taking of another property comprises, one is a physical way also, another way is electronically also, we can say digital also, and intellectual, their own property. The value of information which is going to be suffer, correct now, ultimately which are going to be decrease the value, correct now, which are going to be minimized when it is copied and taken away without the owner's knowledge. See, today, if any sort of a publication which are going to be post or a launch on the website, correctly, you have to take the courtesy of that. Similarly, any asset, any property which are going to be copied and automatically without the concern, without the knowledge of owner who is the author person, these are also going to be destroy the value of the representation of any sort of an asset. Physical theft can be controlled. A wide variety of measures used from the locked doors, guards, or the alarm system. We can see that one. We have various other type of a security flow of an information physically which are connected. Correct? No, we can find out. Even though manpower who are available can identify one to another. Ladies and gentlemen, just friends, I'm going to wind up today class. Just I mentioned what are all the various type of threats which are going to be provided one among other than the manpower failure, we can identify like power regularities and the communication of the other issues. So similarly, communication, so internet service providers, so who are all going to be give a different way of their issues, which are going to be have a complete information security impact in any organization. That's completely picture. And next class I'll give what are all the queries or the questions which are very suitable for your first internal assessment to, and continue to the next topic without any problem. Any queries, any questions, ladies and gentlemen?